Welcome to Dental All Stars. I'm Eric Vickery, President of Coaching at All Star Dental Academy. Today, I have our founder and CEO, Alex Nottingham, and we are talking about having your MBA or your dental MBA as you would have it. So, welcome, Alex.
Glad to be here as a guest on our show.
You are the guest today. And so, we're talking about this master's in business administration, especially
Yeah,
focusing in on the niche of dentistry. And
right.
so, why don't you give us some background into why you built the All Star Dental MBA program?
Yeah. So I'd love to take credit for it, but it was Heather's idea. And when we launched All Star over 10 years ago, Eric, right? You were there at the beginning. And um, so when we launched it, our focus was phone skills and broken appointments. And we actually launched All Star rather. We didn't lose it. We found it. We launched it with a focus on phone skills and scheduling. That's it. And then I believe later we added the patient experience and case acceptance to kind of round it out, customer service. And either during that time or I think slightly after, Heather was like, well, we're training them on customer service, on phone skills, on scheduling, but what about leadership? She said, we'll get back to leadership because you do courses on leadership with All Star and our clients. It's a whole nother can of worms, or not can of worms. It's a good opportunity. But she did actually mention leadership was a problem, management was a problem. And I said,
Mm,
well, let me take one step further is let's look at the entire framework of a business, leadership being part of it, management being part of it. But let's look at all these 12 steps. And I spent about a year putting together what I learned at Tony Robbins when I was a coach for him, one of his top coaches. I learned what I did with my MBA and my law degree, as well as running All Star and building businesses. And I put it into a 12-month program that's included with All Star membership that helps a dentist. It can also be licenses can be added for associates or office managers to be able to really master what they need to know about business for a dental practice and just kind of getting a truncated MBA. Dentists will say to me, well, should I get an MBA? I mean, it looks
mm,
nice, but
mm.
I don't know if you need it. You really need to get the fundamentals and then keep working at it. And that's why much later, uh, when you came to me and said, Alex, we have to do leadership programs and live events for dentists, specifically on leadership management and systems, that was kind of a genesis from that MBA, but you're seeing in coaching that they needed it. So what we always say with our clients is we build programs, products, and services from what they need. They're telling us. And I
Hmm.
have a sore spot for when they need it, we have to do it. And you don't do it just because of profit. You do it because it helps them. You take care of your dentist from our perspective. And dentists, you take care of your patients. They take care of you. You have to always pay it forward.
Mm. Yeah, I think taking care of your business, that's always seems to be this sidebar or this, oh, I don't want to be in sales or the money it feels like business means money, and business means I just want to grow my business. I must be trying to become a corporate entity or something, or have multiple locations. Speak to maybe how to settle those thoughts of, oh, I don't need to go that route. That's not really for
Sure.
me. What is this really focusing in on? How's it supporting the dentist, especially from an MBA standpoint?
So I'm going to answer that one. Before I do that, make sure I answer that. Just want to
Mm,
note for those who may not know my story, and both of our
mm,
stories, our
mhm,
fathers are dentists. My father, when I grew up, told me not to be a dentist. And so he encouraged me to do the MBA work and law because he was deficient in that. He knew he was so great clinically, but knew that was a weakness. And if he had better business skills, he would have been more successful. Sure enough, though, he was lucky that Heather and I, my wife, who was our VP of training, our phone skills instructor, we were able to transform his practice. So he had good business people, but he always knew, even when I was young, that was a deficit. Okay. And so just, that's kind of like how this all played out.
mhm,
Why is this lawyer, MBA, Tony Robbins
mm,
guy doing dentistry?
mhm.
Well, it's my dad,
Yeah, good
and I helped
clarity.
him, and
Yeah.
I have um, a, compassion, and I realized that was a meeting. Now, back to your point, uh, yeah, I think there are different places in dentistry to be. there are companies that they focus on building DSOs and to have multiple practices. And it's interesting. And both of us have corporate, experiences and so on. It doesn't really interest us at All Star as much. I mean, we work with practices at multiple locations.
Hmm.
When you start getting into DSO land, you start losing the connection to dentistry. And most of our clients are like, I don't want to have a million practices. I want to have one, maybe two. I want to have associate, perhaps, or I just want to run my business and play and enjoy my life. And is that okay? And you would think that business people like us would say, no, you're not aspiring to the best that you can be. You should
Hmm.
10x, 100x what you do. Why? The goal is to live a life you're proud of and you're happy for you. Don't live somebody else's dream. You live your dream. And our job at All Stars is to say, let me give you the support, the training, the coaching, the events to be able to live the dream that you want, to live the life that you want. There's no shame in saying, I want to do dentistry and get better as being a leader, a manager to help my practice. And that's enough for me.
Hmm.
That's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what I love about it too is it gives clarity to being a solo business owner.
Absolutely.
What do I need to do? I think we just think, oh, just do dentistry and the business will take care of itself. But there's so every
No,
time I feel like I meet with clients and I uncover, like, lift up rocks and go around corners, we're uncovering things that really you just don't know what you don't know.
no,
And going through the way you've laid it out, it's so step by step on the process and how to do this, instead of just always being in the mode of work in your business. And you've got a whole section on this, is how do you work on your
that's right.
business.
That's
And
right.
I think that's what gets just pushed aside. It gets cast aside so much. And it's going to take time to do this, right? How much time would you say a dentist needs to focus on? You said 12 months. Of
12
that, how
months,
much?
just a couple hours a month on
Mm-hmm.
the MBA program. That's it. And
Mm-hmm.
keep in mind, this is not a panacea, nor is getting a true MBA. It is just it's taking the content that many wise business people have done over the years, and it's just regurgitated now in different forms, whether you call it story brand, whether you call it traction, or whether you call it scaling up. They're all the same. And so if there's not something new in business,
Mm-hmm.
the key I will say, the caveat I will say is to really crush it is you got to be working with a coach as well. All the
Mm-hmm.
best are working with coaches to help. Now, what we do at All Star, we separate, we give the content as our online program. And then if you choose to do coaching, they're focusing on the numbers, on supporting you, guiding you. And then you have the
Mm-hmm.
material there. But we talk about this a lot. You do in your lectures. Information, knowledge is not power, it's just potential power. You
Right.
need to have the information to know kind of the background of your research as you're educated, but then it's doing the work. And then and at the end of the day, everybody, it's living a life. My uncle, who is my guide, I wrote a book about him. Why he's a wise guy in a wise way, and he's all about the goal is to live a life and to enjoy your life. And that's what we're here at All Star to do is give you the tools to be able to do that. And that's the outcome. If you need a certain level of money to do that, of course you do. You have the business to do that, of course. You can have both. You don't have to be poor and live a good life or rich and be miserable. You can be wealthy and live a good life. So,
Yeah. I I love the stories that you tell. I have a story that connects the dots for me on this. Right at the time we found out we were going to have our second child, Tyler. So this would have been in 2001, 2000 probably. He was born in '01. And so I enrolled to get my MBA,
oh,
attended a couple courses, and found out that we were pregnant with him. And I was like, I've got to kick it in gear. I'm going to have two kids now and work. And I shifted out of it. But the reason I really abandoned ship on getting my MBA was I'm sitting in this class and and I've already been in dentistry for a while. I've already been in business for a while, and I've already know some things about what I'm going to do. My ladder's against this wall in dentistry and being a coach. I already know that. Been in training for, 2 years now to be a coach. And I'm in this class on international law. And I'm listening to this professor and I'm reading this book and I just shaking my head the whole time going, I just don't need this. I
Right.
just don't need this. Is a waste of my time. And so if only there were a way for me to get an MBA in just what I need to know about dentistry, about small business, about the things that I'm going to be doing. You've answered that call. You've answered that call for us to know, well, I don't need to go learn about international law or international trade or international marketing when it comes to getting my master's in business. This is a niche focused MBA and only the things you need to know as being a small
That's
business
right.
owner in dentistry. And that to me is what makes it great. I dropped out. I'd
Well, I
highlighted
mean,
the first two chapters,
if
said,
you're
I'm
an
out of here.
academic, go
Mm-hmm.
to academia, and that's an
Mm-hmm.
MBA. An MBA is academic. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean you have an MBA. It looks nice. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's nice to have those letters, but it doesn't mean that you're a great at business. So
Mm-hmm.
shall we dive into some of the topics of the
Yeah, let's
MBA?
do it. Let's
All
do
right.
it.
So,
So yeah,
yep.
give us the first, like, what do we need to big
Okay.
picture, what do we need to think about first?
So I built this actually in three phases, uh, and then 12 total modules, one for each month.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just kind of
Mm-hmm.
go through each one and
Mm-hmm.
just talk about generally the importance of
Yeah.
it, what we're trying to do here, and then they have different units involved. Remember,
Yep.
each module is about an hour to 3 hours, depending on the material.
Mm.
And I've been able to add some things throughout the years. So the first and most important step in anything that we do is mindset. That's the first. That's the first. And if I'd ask you, I know you've asked this in audiences, I've done too. You say, put your hand up if you believe mindset is 99% of what it takes to succeed. Everybody raises their hand. Then we say, do you spend 99% of your time on mindset? No hands. Do you spend even 5%? Very few.
Yeah.
So we know it's important, but we don't put the time into it. So that's the first module. You got to recognize what are the external and internal forces facing you. You have to make a commitment to improving your mindset. Now, you can't in one module. Mindset is a lifetime uh, focus. It's a process, but we always start with mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of my favorite topics, and you're succinct in it. You get to the point. This is what has to be done, and then it becomes doing it. But this is the that's the accountability part. But this is the opening act is
Is
have the right
mindset.
mental attitude here. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
PMA. So after mindset, we start building into the content. So we talk about strategic planning. So when I say planning, strategic, and I'm going to use this a few times in this process, strategic, because strategic means high level. How do we plan for our business? And in this section, we're looking at the idea of visionary, right? So this has been very popular recently in the traction framework. But even back then, the role of a visionary, like Steve Jobs and others, what is that? And then building out your vision, your beliefs, your mission, your goals, and so on. And there are many, and again, like I'm saying, this is a starting point, because you may hear vision and mission and beliefs done differently in different training, whether you're coming to our leadership retreat or our events. That's okay. It's just constant exposure and seeing what fits you, what resonates with you. So we start with mindset, and then we kind of build into strategic planning and going through those aspects. Now, the third area, and you were alluding to it earlier, is systems. That we want to be systems dependent, not people dependent. We
Mhm.
want to work on the business, not in the business. Now, if that sounds familiar, that's Michael Gerber, E-Myth Revisited. I had the pleasure of speaking with him at an event before I launched All Star, when I was in the Tony Robbins space. And so this is critical, that we're not getting pulled into the fires all the time. And that can happen in a business where you
Especially
have
as a
time.
dentist.
Oh, dentist, it's tough being a dentist. It
Hmm.
is, because you got to be a producer and you got to be all of these things.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
I think
hard.
about the percentages of like, well, I want to spend 100% of my time producing. how does it grow my business to not be producing? And
Right.
there's this balancing act that you have to figure out. And this is a part of it, is figure, well, how much time should I be spending away from producing, and yet not let my business get out of control? People can even be, they could be, failing and struggling because they don't work on their systems and their people and everything. And they just want to produce. I need more production, but we don't know how to get it because you haven't worked on the business. And also you could be really like a victim of your own success, and you see it start to get a little chaotic as you grow, and you don't know how to really control that growth. And this is where working on your business is going to be so strategical, and you have to have a really
Strategical.
clear
That's a new
mind.
word.
I just
Strategical.
made it up. Abby loves it when I make words up. So we're
Sounds
going to
good. No,
tangibilize
the
things,
the if you don't have
strategicalize
the
things.
time, if you don't have the time, Eric, to do it right, when will you have time to do it over?
Hmm.
So that
Yeah.
happens a lot when we're just putting out fires and we're not. Every hour you spend in planning, you save 4 hours in execution. So we want to, and look, it's not likely that a dentist, unless they're no longer going to be producing, can do what I do, which is
Mm-hmm.
mostly work on the business as a visionary
Mm-hmm.
of All Star,
Mm-hmm.
where we have producers, and that's okay. Again, we talked about earlier in the model. If you're a DSO model, you can, because you're no longer a dentist. You're a business executive. But if you love dentistry and want to do dentistry, so that's the important thing. If you love
Mm-hmm.
dentistry, then you want to be producing a good amount of the time. We're talking
Mm-hmm.
probably 3 to 4 days a week, and not crazy hours, not weekends, lots of vacation. And then you do allocate time to train yourself, to train your team, to follow the systems, to follow, continue to grow. And it's amazing. The 80-20 rule again here, maybe 20% of your time you're working on the business. And
Mm-hmm.
that could be magical because you can end up working less and making more. We also have we have helped a lot of we continue to help many practices get off insurance. Insurance freedom is the program that we do. So there's a lot of ways that you can be more. So yeah, we'll work with
Yeah.
Eric's team, get you off insurance, and be more productive on a bunch of things. And guess what? You have more time, and with that time, you can go work on your business.
Well, I think this is where we've gotten away from Fridays are for continuing education or just a day off, when really that may not be the case. That may be the time that has been and historically ought to be allotted for working on your business, just like
Sure,
team meetings. You know, I think dentists and teams have a hard time saying, why would I have a team meeting? Why would I block production time for a team meeting? Same concept here. You've
that's
got to
right.
be working on your business. Yeah.
Always working on your business.
I'm really curious about the advisory board.
Let's
I
talk
don't
about it.
know a lot of dentists that have an advisory board, like from the classical sense. So give us just a tidbit of insight on this next section
Sure.
on advisory board.
It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be formal as
Yeah.
I talk about it. I mean, you're going to have your accountant or CPA. We
Mm-hmm.
have wonderful recommendations. Your financial planner is
Mm-hmm.
going to be your coach, your dental
Mm-hmm.
coach,
Yeah.
maybe your therapeutic coach, which we also do that, or life coach. It's going to be, I mean, you look at the great athletes and the great businesses,
Mm-hmm.
they have a board of directors, they have a team that works with them. We have a
Mm-hmm.
leadership team at All Star. It's
Mm-hmm.
not just me. I mean, today we had
Yeah.
a meeting and nobody agreed with what I'm saying, and fine, we're
Okay.
moving on. I mean, and I was, yeah. So the point is, they protect you from yourself, and now there's so you can have a leadership team that actually has say in your business. You can also just have advisors you go to that
Yeah.
are just there
Yeah.
on your corner because you want to. You get to trouble making bad decisions, and if you can
Mm-hmm.
surround yourself with people that can help you, if you tell me who your friends are, I'll tell you who you are. We all heard that quote. And it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you surround yourself with? What is their methodology? It's that simple.
Yeah. I've gotten on coaching calls with clients several times over the last 20 years. And it's been a month since we talked before. And also they're telling me what they've done in the last 30 days. And I'm just like, oh no, why are we doing this? And I've got to, I say, my name's Eric, I'm your friend. We got to talk about this. And why did you do this? And why didn't we talk about it first? Or who did you talk about this with?
Right?
Pulling the trigger. It's like, oh, it's a very emotional decision oftentimes, whether it's purchasing something or making a team shift or a big business decision. You want to bounce those ideas off people. So I love that.
Absolutely. Just being
Yeah.
good business. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, you can't do it without team. So talk
Well,
about the
so
next part of
so
this.
the
Yeah.
next part is hiring, and I'm kind
Yeah.
of looking through this here. So pardon my eyes
Yeah.
wandering. Is so I go that's a pretty long program, and I got to
Yeah.
credit Ben Erickson for lending and providing training for a good hiring process, and also Brian Tracy and others that we kind of work with. So we go through our hiring process, which is very similar to our hiring service. Okay. Robin has evolved it, our director of hiring and her team of hiring specialists. So I'm not going to cover it in great detail, but I do talk about a hiring methodology, and then actually this was created uh, before we launched our hiring service. So I would say watch this program. Also look at our podcast at our website. We categorize all our hiring videos. You can also listen to our director of hiring, the hiring service, and supplement that learning with hiring. We're doing material every month on hiring. And then obviously it's a no-brainer to, when you're looking to hire, use a hiring service, use All-Star Dental Academy's hiring service. Spare yourself the frustration with respect to that. Again, something we created because there's a need. And this goes back to the one before that, advisory board, is if you have the right people around you, whether it's advice or people that can do things for you, right? Like we talk about financial planners. They're there. I tell you, the number one reason of financial planners, in my opinion, is to protect you from yourself. If
Hmm.
you don't know what you're doing and you don't have a
Yeah.
discipline in the market, then that's where a financial planner comes first, and they will protect you from yourself.
Hmm.
And that's often the case. Same thing with hiring. They will protect you from yourself, making poor
Yeah.
decisions. We have offices that they'll when they do it on their own, the dentist kind of monopolizes, and the person doesn't feel comfortable and leaves. So there's a lot of, and there's also legal ramifications by
That
not
to
doing
me
it
is huge.
correctly, which
That's
I'm
right.
concerned. So use a
What can
third
you do or not
party
do?
and
Yep.
just stay in your lane, everybody. Know what you do
Yep.
well, optimize that. Okay.
Yep.
Eric Vickery is I said this from the beginning. If I ever wanted a coach, I would have Eric Vickery, our coach. That's why he's president of coaching. He's the coach of all coaches.
Mhm.
He's an amazing speaker. That's why you're going to see him out there speaking and being the figurehead for All Star. What do we call it? The attractive personality, because you're great at it and he loves
Mhm.
it. So that's why would you then take, again, does it make sense? From business people are very practical. They go, they love money, okay, but they also love living a life, the ethical ones. And if you want to live a good life and make good money, do what you do well and find people
That's
that
right.
do what they do well. Eric's like, I don't want to do what you do. I don't have the
Hmm.
patience or time. Like international business, that's interesting to me. You
Hmm.
are not interested. I do all the things that you will pull your hair out and end up looking like me.
That's
So
right.
that's why it works well. Same thing when you bring on partners or associates. You have to bring people with skills. You think these great CEOs that are making billions of dollars is their ideas? They just take credit for it because they have great people that work with them.
They don't hire. Yeah.
No, no.
Yeah. There's a
So,
great book
uh-huh.
by Dan Martell called Buy Back Your Time. And I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to read what's under the subcontext here.
Sure.
Get unstuck, reclaim your freedom, and build your empire. Reclaim your freedom. To
Such
me,
a good point.
hiring is about reclaiming your freedom. Why would I don't I have a fish tank in my office. I don't clean the fish tank. Once a month, somebody comes in and does that. Why would I do that? It's not worth my time to do that. I value my time more than it is
And
to
you
do
don't
those things.
enjoy it.
I don't enjoy it. I'm not as good at it as the person who comes and does it, right? I don't want to kill fish. Same thing with hiring. I'm not as good at it. It wouldn't be a good use of my time.
No.
And there's so many other things beyond that. But think about buy back your time, buy back your freedom. That's what's great about understanding these sorts of opportunities that are out there.
So the next subject I want to go to, and I preface this, you gotta be careful,
Hmm.
Eric, because this could become 3 hour seminar. At
I'll let
any
you
at any
just talk about it. I won't say anything.
at any moment, Eric is going to break out into a 2 hour seminar when it comes to this topic, which is leadership, so dear to the heart. So what I want to talk about with this is really the next module is leadership and then management, but you have two modules that kind of compete. Leadership and management are very important. Our chief operating officer, she loves leadership. She's a Maxwell certified trainer, just like you, and speaker. They love leadership. And I say, you're a great manager. And she frowns at me. She was a former office manager. I say, you're missing something. because you don't come from where I come from, whereby from the dental space, management is often like frowned upon. I'm a manager, especially those who are training, because managers are a title that's given to you with no background. So you're somebody who's not skilled and you're a manager and you're getting more money and you're messing up the practice. And this is generalization. It can be.
Messing up the practice. I love
Exactly.
it.
So you're just bossing people around. But now, everybody's got to be a leader. And leadership comes back to knowing yourself, mindset, knowing other people. It's inspiration. And then the management is a skill set. Management is a skill. And now my COO smiles when I say you're a great manager. I don't know if she's a good smile, but the idea I'm trying to train her that management is an amazing skill. It's like you're a skilled speaker. You will smile. You're a skilled manager. Smile. It's a great thing. It's a very rare thing to be a great manager. Some people have it, some people don't. She has it. She's a great manager and leader. Eric is an amazing leader, speaker. I wouldn't put management as his accolades. He can do it, but nor is it mine. So those are, we have to understand what they are and understand from an MBA perspective at a high level, what are the elements of leadership? What are the elements of management? And cultivate that within ourselves and others. If you have a great manager in your office, make them a manager or team leader. And it's a real skill set. But everybody's got to be a leader. Everybody's got to know themselves. Now, it doesn't mean everybody's got to be the leader, but they need to have these leadership qualities, emotional intelligence, and all these areas that we teach a lot. These are skill sets that I would put on the leadership realm. But also, great managers, CEOs, COOs have to also be amazing at leadership. So these are both areas that I think sometimes overlap, but they're
Mm-hmm.
different and they need to be
They're
learned
separate.
about that. Right.
Yeah, that's
And you
right.
have to be targeting that. So
Yeah.
that's leadership management. And then the next module goes into time management. So we're kind of parsing out something from management, which is so important with how do we manage our time? As I mentioned, every
Mm.
time we spend an hour in planning, we save 4 hours in execution. The 80-20 rule, it's been around for a while. It's a real rule by an economist, Nobel Prize winner, I believe, about we see these patterns. So how can we master time? Our scheduling process, block scheduling, is time management. It doesn't even
Mm-hmm.
come from dentistry. So
Yeah.
when you start to see the history behind where block scheduling, where other things come from, you go, oh my goodness, this is a business sense. This is why I say, people go, well, do you help with periodontists? Sure, we got tons of periodontists, endodontists, pedodontists. I have plastic surgeons. I have physical therapists. I have chiropractors that use our program. It's not our main audience. We don't market to them, but anybody in business can benefit from our MBA program, our phone skills, everything. It's
Yeah.
the same thing. And I want to generalize. So I want people to understand that they can learn from many areas. Now, our coaches are dental specific, and what we teach, we understand where you're coming from, but where we're pulling from is nothing new. It's the
Mm-mm.
best of the best. And really, it's about this. It's not about the idea. It's about doing the best stuff over and over and over again. It's a
Mm-hmm.
repetition of doing good to great things that makes a difference, not one idea. I
Mm-hmm.
have a million ideas, as you know, Eric, and only about maybe 20% are actually worth listening to. But the 2 to 5% that are good that we can implement are amazing. But we need a manager that can do that. We need an implementer, integrator that can do
Mm-hmm.
that. So time management
Yeah.
is critical.
I'll
So
say one thing about time
yeah,
management. I just want to say this. It shocks me when someone says something to me like, I need to go check my schedule, or I don't know what I'm doing that week. There are no people in this world that we work in, there are no people without a cell phone. Stop telling me you don't know what your schedule is. Please, you have your schedule. Learn how to use scheduling. Learn how to use blocks. Put it in there. I'm not saying put every patient in there. I'm
absolutely.
saying block it. What does your Monday look like? What does your Tuesday?
Everything,
What does your
even your
evening look
personal
like?
stuff,
Your
even your
family
personal
time has to be
stuff,
blocked in there. You
everything.
have to learn how to do block scheduling in your life if you're going to be an effective leader, if you're going to be an effective business owner. It's a strategic part of your MBA. I could not
Your
agree more.
your schedule tells me what you prioritize.
That's right.
That's simple. And so Chet Holmes, a great teacher over at Tony Robbins that worked with us, he was big on that. Take your task list, get it on your schedule. All right, moving along. Module 9. We're rounding this out. We're getting there, guys.
Here we go. Here
Then
we
we get
go.
into, see, we have a lot to do. Strategic marketing. So what I want to say about marketing is, and why I say again strategic, is that it's really, marketing is not what you think it is. Marketing has to do with how you position yourself in market. So I took marketing in my MBA program. It had nothing to do with what I thought. It's not advertising. When you do pay-per-click and email blasts, that's advertising.
Yeah.
Okay. Marketing is a whole different, marketing is closer to branding, positioning in marketplace. It's actually quite boring in the MBA style. So I cover more advertising, but strategic when it comes to how you position yourself in a marketplace. Okay.
Mm.
So that's marketing. I'm not going to go too much into that. Now, the 10th, which is very interesting, is accounting. Boring. I love accounting. Love it, love it, love it, love it. It is the language of business is what accounting is.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was so good at accounting, they wanted me to get my master's of accounting. My
Mm.
brother's an accountant. We talk every day, and I love
Mm.
learning about accounting.
Mm.
It's so important. If you don't, you can have a great idea, but if you don't know your cash flow, if you don't know how
Mm-hmm.
your cash works with your profit and loss is a fiction. It doesn't exist. And then you have cash, which does exist. But how do those work? How do you budget things?
Mm.
And a great dentist or a great business owner, great ideas, great everything, and they don't know their accounting, which you should probably
Yeah.
work with a great CPA that helps you, but you need to be educated about it
That's right.
to make decisions. If you don't do that, you can fail right then and there.
Yeah. I love when a dentist uses their QuickBooks,
Mm-hmm.
when they run their own payroll, when they pay their own bills, and when they can balance their own checkbook. When they're doing that,
Ooh,
they are in their CEO mindset. They're in their MBA part of it. At Leadership Retreat, we'll actually reverse engineer those expenses out of the P&L to say, well, what should
good.
collections be to make them healthy? That'll be a part of this. So this, I know it says accounting. I know people get like, oh, but there's just this small portion of working on your business that falls into this that is so, so key. The ones that don't do those things I'm talking about, they're just very distant with their numbers. They need to have monthly reviews with their CPA or their coach to look at that P&L
Yes.
and
And
understand what those numbers mean.
you don't have to be neurotic like myself and do it. Um, but you need to, a great CEO has a pulse on different areas of the business. And that's what the MBA will see. You'll see how is your mindset? How is your leadership and management? How is your strategic planning? How is your marketing and advertising? How is your accounting? And you're going to have experts that are there that will provide you at will what is going on. Your CPA is going to be critical and your coach. That's
Mm-hmm.
going to be ideal. And then you can make decisions about what is going on. What I have found, the reason I'm doing the accounting is that there's nobody in my company that can do it at the level that I can do it. When somebody shows up and says and kicks my butt on accounting and could do it better, they will take care of the books. Until
Right.
then, I will.
That's
So
good.
because it's so important, you got to know where the money's at. All
Yeah.
right. And I've automated it enough and I've outsourced some aspects of it that it's not a big time problem for me. Okay. So the last few modules the last two are how do you handle adversity and how do you live a balanced life?
Mm-hmm.
Because stuff is going to happen and you have to prepare for it. Back to that advisory board. You're like, what's that? Well, that's your CPA. That's your financial advisor. That's your coach. Those are all those people that are there to prepare you. We're going to be in our mastermind talking about trusts, okay, and estates. All that is set up because something will happen. And God
Mm-hmm.
willing, it won't be for a long time, but it will. And you are prepared and you're not stressed. And by doing that, the final step is you can live a balanced life.
Mm-hmm.
You can enjoy your life, have the health, security, the spirituality, whatever it is important to you, the friends that you can live. That's the goal. The goal is to live a life. And we have all these processes to do that. And I'll tell you this, the listening, and that's what I think people love All Star about. At least I love it. So if we all want to hang out and be, that's the thing, is when you get to know, you listen to these companies, get to know what they stand for, who the people are.
Mm.
And they got to have good credentials. They got to have good reviews and a good result in what they do. And we definitely have that. But you have to like who they are. And do you want to be around those people? And so when you look at building your business, can I be around a certain level of advisors, whether it be All Stars, one of your advisors, your CPA, and others, that you can have an experience with all these people in your team for a long time, enjoy
Mm,
them, learn, make plenty of money. I joke, and people love my joke about I wish for you for a boring life. You go to
mhm.
work, you love what you do, you make a lot of money, your team makes a lot of money, everybody's happy, no drama, don't have much turnover, and that's it. That's a life,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
goes by quickly. So enjoy it. We've been told as kids, it goes by quickly. Quickly. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's nonsense. It does.
Hmm.
And so
Flying
every
by.
moment, appreciate your life, enjoy the learning, enjoy your team, find great people to be around, and just join them on that journey and never let go.
So good. Yeah, I
That's it.
love that you put all the time and energy into this for other people. And it feels so good when people go through this and they submit their business plan to you at the
They
end
do.
and
They
you're looking
do.
at that with them. I mean, talk about making a difference in people's lives. This is something that for me, if you're a dentist out there listening to this is a no-brainer.
Thank
Absolute
you.
no-brainer. Well, thank you, Alex. Thank you for opening up on this and sharing with us what this is about, why it's there. And I think those that are listening for paying attention to us and giving us opportunity to pour into you. So check out allstardentalacademy.com. If you want more information about it and you're just listening to this and learning about this for the first time, just shoot Heather an email, heather@allstardentalacademy.com. And if you know somebody who you think, man, they need to hear this about getting their MBA in dentistry, forward this to them, forward this podcast to them, send them this link. And of course, always follow us, subscribe to the channel, share it with others. We appreciate you so much for being a part of the All Star family. So until next time, go
Go
out
out
there
there
and
and
be
be
an
an
all
all
star.
star.